Hey, how's it going, everybody? So we're going to be doing a little bit of traditional stuff today, and I'm sure I'll be saying this a couple times through the stream because people ask and wonder what the hell's going on. But let me just turn my screen off. I had it. There we go. So essentially, what we're going to do is this is a commission here for Monochrome Moose, who hooked us up with the sweet 1080p webcam. So I said I would do an 11 by 17 of a character that he wanted. So he wanted what is it, Spider-Gwen, I believe her name is. So this is what happened here, okay? So normally I would do this right here, this line art stage, and then print it out on Bristol, and then just start inking it. The problem is apparently my printer's out of ink, so I can't cheat it here. I have to really draw everything. So this is how I used to do it back in the day, even when we would do comic book pages, and I still do this from time to time if I want like everything to be traditional. Doing this here, digital, and then printing it out, and then inking and doing all the cool stuff over top of it saves a whole bunch of time. And for me anyway, I think it's better art personally. However, it's different for everybody. So anyway, what all I do here, actually, because I just want to talk about the steps here. For those of you guys that this is something that I talk about, where I say some people they like digital, but they don't want to do full digital artwork. And this is something I would heavily consider doing if you want to incorporate some digital stuff into your work. Not necessarily just printing out this way, but imagine this was like roughs or like scribbles or a gesture that you did digitally, right? Hey, how's it going, V? Digital stuff, but you don't have like one of those expensive 11 by 17 printers. All you do is the best part about 11 by 17 for comic book pages anyway is that each half is 8.5 by 11, which is regular printer paper, right? So if you notice on the back here, all you have to do, I don't even know if it really comes up, there's like the white border of the page, and you just cut that off. I have a video maybe 2-3 years ago talking about this, but anyway, yeah, so you get it there and you cut it off, and then you just tape it on, and this is the critical part. This thing, a light box. Now this is a Huion light one. I did a review on that. I think if you are into traditional, I think if you do traditional art, period, it's in your best interest to buy something like this. Hey, how's it going, Steven? I think this is like $100, maybe 120. If you don't have this, you can make one, or you could hold it up to a window. You can get creative with the light box, but we're going to do the whole light box session with you guys. Normally this would be rough, but like I said, I found out the hard way after doing the line art that I didn't have ink. So we're going to have to move this over to Bristol. So let's get that going. I thought I would show you guys how that kind of goes. It's super simple, right? So we're just going to like that. You're going to flip it around. No, that's wrong. Sorry. We're just going to lay on top. You kind of line it up as best you can. It's not going to be 100% perfect because we did cut it. Now we're going to get our good old friend masking tape. Get masking tape for this kind of stuff because once you take the tape off, it doesn't pull on the Bristol. And if you do that, you can be like me, used to use Scotch tape and stuff. Scotch tape's not too bad, but if you could pick anything, I would pick masking tape. Just because, again, when you start pulling this stuff off, you can start pulling Bristol board with it. Then you're ruining the whole board that you're working on. But I like doing this every now and then, maybe every couple months, just because it reminds me of like way back in the day when I used to do comic book pages this way. When everything was, I was just a penciler, you know. It's a quick little trick. You could do this like, imagine in Manga Studio or Photoshop. You get your own, what's it called? Perspective grids done digitally. You can just print them out, light box, and you're good to go. So here you go, it's done, right? I'm going to turn this guy on here. Hopefully it comes through. Yeah, you can. Jesus Christ, that's bright. That's like totally transparent. I don't need it to be that bright because we're just using light pencil work here to sort of sketch what we have going on here. You know, I might actually just, I wonder if I could just ink over top of this. So this is the decision I'm trying to make here, just so you guys know what the hell's going on. Normally, like I said, if this was roughs, I would sort of transfer that over with pencil, like pencil roughs, and then ink over top of it once my light box is gone. But since we have like literal line art here, I'm wondering if I just skip that step and just grab like a micron right now and just start doing that. You know what? Might save some time. Just give me a second to figure out what we're going to use for that. Get a little cheat sheet here. 0.1 would probably be good. Let's try this guy. We just put this over here. I just want to try on a piece of paper. What do we got around here? Yeah, that'll be good. Okay. Let's just lower the brightness here. Okay, should be good. And if we screw this up, that's the best part. I mean, well, screwing up isn't the best part, but since it's already done, you know, we can go ahead and just grab another piece of Bristol. Can get expensive after a while, but usually you just get used to it. Alright, so where are we going to start here? The trick is trying to keep all the same motion and lines and stuff you had before. Hey, how's it going, Inkbot? Like here, I'm just going to add a little bit of detail. So once again, I'll say this a couple times, I know I will. But if you're a traditional artist and you're looking to maybe not speed up, because you know it's gonna be different for everybody. Some people are quicker doing some stuff, some people aren't. But I always found once I started doing my comic pages and stuff this way, and we're talking back in like, oh God, 2000 and what would that be, like 5 and 6 maybe? So maybe almost 10 years ago. This was helping me out big time, and the main reason why I want to bring it up too is because like not everybody has these big, expensive 11 by 17 printers, right? You can get like just a toner or like the cheapest printer you can find that's a 8.5 by 11, and you can print out 11 by 17 sheets. Do roughs, you know, in Photoshop. You can make a real small thumbnail, get sloppy with the artwork a little bit, and print it out, and then just start gesturing it that way. Maybe I'll do some more videos like that just to show you guys what the hell exactly I'm talking about. We're gonna add gray tones and stuff to this too, so I'm hoping to get this whole thing done during this stream. I think we've streamed for about a couple hours anyway. We'll see how quick we can go. There's not too much work here, to be honest. I mean, it's inking for sure, but it's not like I'm doing everything here from start to finish. You can take it off, take a look at it, how it's looking with just the inks. Cool. This one's a Huion. Here, let me get the link for you guys. I have a review on it too on my channel if you guys care to watch it. It pretty much you're seeing in action. You don't got to watch a review. I highly recommend it. Full disclaimer: I reached out to Huion and asked them if they could give me a review box here. So that's what this one is. I think I believe it's this one. A2 size, I believe that's right. This is Canadian, so if you live in America, it's going to be much cheaper for you. There you go. Anyway, for everybody listening, anyway, it's a Huion adjustable brightness LED light art craft. It looks like they have just a bunch of tags as what it is. Just type in Huion Lightbox in Amazon. You'll find it there. Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Yeah, no problem, man. Now, I actually noticed once I printed this out that I screwed up her webbing. If you see, can you guys see this here? If you look down here, like the lines coming down, they're right, but when I wrapped it, I just went straight across. You remember how I always tell you guys to think about the form? I didn't do that. I just zoomed right through it, so it flattens her arm out. So we're gonna fix that up too, because that's just unacceptable. It just looks bad. One other thing about traditional as well, I feel like so far all I do is keep telling you guys to check out other videos, but I did one video called Your Analog Tools to Digital. And so what that is basically just grab like a bristle or like just a piece of paper, whatever. How's it going, monochrome? Hope this looks familiar for you, buddy. But yeah, so what you could do is you just grab this and grab the inking tools that you normally use and draw like different kinds of lines on your page. Scan it in at like 600 dpi, nice good solid resolution. And then go to Manga Studio or Photoshop and just start fiddling with settings, trying to mimic your traditional tools. I don't think you can get it 100%, but you can get it pretty damn close. And the reason I did that is because I'd always want to be able to, like my style anyway, and that's why JESOP King looks the way it does, is which is very similar to this, if I ever wanted to do a traditional piece, you know, if I just feel like I actually plan on doing this for the webcomic too, a couple pages, just to spice it up, of just doing everything traditional, and then coloring it, seeing how it turns out, because sometimes you want to get away from the computer, you know? You just turn some music on, go back to the old school way of drawing. And that has nothing to do with like selling or anything like that. It's just more for me because I'm always on computer screens and stuff. But anyway, so what's important when you're doing that is if you can mirror the same kind of brushes that you're using in your traditional tool set, you can easily bring that into digital, and then it almost doesn't even matter what you're doing. Plus, let's say the majority of what you do is digital, like me, and somebody wanted to commission you for something. The one thing I was always weary of is like people are like, yeah, get me like something like this, right? And let's say I was doing my heavier ink style, and I'm no good with a quill. I haven't taken any time to learn that stuff, so I was always afraid that they would ask me to make a commission for them, and it would end up being not what they expected because my art was different doing traditional, you know? So that's one of the reasons I kind of started gravitating towards the way we draw now. Very pen, very, you know, simple in a lot of ways, a lot of respects. And this is going super quick, to be honest, because I've already done the line art, right? Like, there's no... My brain's not even really functioning right now. It's just in trace mode. I mentioned my old homemade lightbox pixel. Okay, yeah, no, that works too. That used to be something I remember in animation class. One of the teachers recommended that. You can go to like Home Depot, Home Hardware, wherever you got. Head on over to the plexiglass station, you know, get a nice square, and you can put it on your lap with the light bulb coming through, and bang. That's, besides putting it up to your window during the day, that's like the cheapest that you could ever get. I've seen people, actually at like a local Comic Con last year, I forget his name, the guy who did Swamp Thing, something Paquette, something like that. And he has one of these too. And he just has like a little power brick that he brings with him, just plugs it in. Because this is the thing, guys, like imagine you just do scribbled gestures. If you're used to like a digital workflow, you know, where you just scribble a gesture, make a new layer, lower the opacity, and then tighten up line work over top of it, that's great. But for some of us that do this, that want to do it traditional, you get the pencil, then you use the eraser. There's certain lines you just can't get, you know? So if you're using like a big fat, like a big friggin' crazy marker or something, you can just quickly scribble some stuff, grab a light box, bang, and start picking lines out, you know? Oh, good. Inkbot, let me know. If you do buy it, let me know what you think. Hey, Keeman, how's it going? Oh, the first time I see you drawing I know, right? Bull, oh, this is for you, Bull? Oh, boy, I hope you like it, man. No pressure now that you're here, you know? Yeah, traditional is weird. It's not something I do very often. I was for a little while at the end of the year, last year, trying to make an effort to do like one traditional piece a month to put on eBay to sell and stuff like that. But that stuff just gets away from you. Or got away from me anyway, I should say. Alright, what do we got going on here? Alright, we got to figure out this. You know what? It's weird when the person this is going to is in the room. They start to hear the dirty secrets. You know, like I know this is free, so it's a little different. Well, technically free, but it's like so like this curve line here for her earbuds. Normally you just grab like a French curve or something and figure this out, right? That'd be the legit thing to do. I'm just gonna freehand it because I just think it adds. Maybe this is just the lazy artist talking, but it just adds a little bit of I don't say uniqueness, but it adds just a little bit of like imperfectness to it. And if there's one thing I dig about doing traditional, it's that. It's kind of moving away from that traditional or digital kind of workflow. And that's something I try to think about all the time when I'm doing digital stuff is don't try to make it perfect. Because it'll never get perfect. But you guys that do digital stuff, you guys might know what the hell I'm talking about. Because it's so easy to zoom in, and since you can undo all the time, a lot of your lines get super perfect. Sometimes you'll like ink outside of a line and you'll be like, oh god, I gotta erase that. But if you're doing it traditional and you didn't feel like busting out the whiteout, you just leave it, you know? And that's one of the tricks to always, not a trick, but something to always consider. So you can see here, like if I move this up, I might have to change the, what's it called? The view or the zoom. Anyway, you can see like it's fat up here and then it's getting skinny and wobbly and all that stuff. But it should be fine. John, are you liking Zelda on my... Oh, I have it for the Wii U, buddy. I didn't get a Switch. I haven't played it in probably like 4 days now. I've just been super tired from work. Work's been really busy. Ow. So I haven't had too much of a time to... I haven't made time to play it. So I've been drawn. I'm trying to get back to the gym. I've only been 2 days. I blew my lower back out because I'm a little lady. I was doing deadlifts, and I wasn't even using that much weight. But since I don't really do any kind of exercise at all, and I'm always sitting down or standing at my desk, just reminding me how friggin' out of shape I am. So usually about an hour at the gym, hour and a half after traffic and stuff. So I haven't had that time would have been used for Zelda currently. But I have this, and I got a commission to do a cover, and I hammered that through, and that's done. I finished it this morning, and I want to get this commission done today, and then our plate is totally empty, so we can get back on JESOP King, and get back to the gym in Zelda. Should be exciting. Oh, I was about to say, already giving your Switch a whip. No, I like I'm interested in it for sure. I dig video games, guys. I don't play them as much as I used to, but like I love video games. And the Switch, I think the Switch has serious potential. We talked about it actually a little while ago, didn't we? I just need more games for it to even consider picking it up. Honestly, Street Fighter coming out for it actually looks pretty cool. I know it's I bought that one for 360, I think it was. It's like the HD remix. So I wouldn't buy it for $50 or whatever the hell it's going to be on the Switch, but you know, like that kind of stuff's cool. I just need more games. I think that's really what a lot of people are just waiting for. I mean, if you didn't have a Wii U, I could see the draw for just picking up for Zelda because it's that good. But since I have the Wii U and I haven't used that thing in so long. And then that was the thing. I'm like, well, I'll probably eventually one day get the Switch. So should I get Zelda, or should I just get a Switch just to play Zelda? And I'm like, you know what? Like the Wii U has scared me off from buying new Nintendo stuff. And the Wii, I feel like I've been jaded twice. How's that looking? Okay. So I'm just playing a little safe. Just wait it out. But I know some of you guys are playing it and stuff on the Switch and all that. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. You just beat Wind Waker last week, only 50. Oh man, how'd you like that? How was that ending, eh? Okay, so I think the background I'm going to just do ink wash. I had a detailed one because this is print, so it's easy to do the background. But I'm just going to ink wash the background. But let's still get this building in here. We can turn off this light pad in a second. I'll grab my ruler. So here, just putting gesture lines down for it. And we have to fix her webbing. Let's get the straight lines down first. I'll show you guys how we'll fix those lines in a second. Is that all of them? Nope, unless you got that line. I think that's it. Let me just take a look. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. I know, $50 for Bomberman, like that is robbery. Now that's the same thing I have, but played it once in the Xbox One. Yeah, exactly. My brother and I, we're big Street Fighter guys. Maybe not as big as we'd like to be, but we do play Street Fighter, and that's why I was like, I just saw that, and I'm like, oh man, we played a little bit of that when it came out on the Xbox 360, I think it was. Okay, I hope that doesn't fall over. Alright, now that that's out of the way. I'm gonna leave this paper back there just to give a little extra oomph. Best Ganon you yeah, I know, right? That Ganon fight, man, fuck. That Ganon fight was sick at the end of Wind Waker. Okay, let's grab our pencil and can't wait to get back into the ink wash with this. It's gonna be fun. It's been a while. Okay, so wait, is this the heavy one? What is this, B? Yeah, that's not gonna do. That's gonna be too thick. Guilty Gear is a great game too. Okay, so what I wanted to do that I didn't do before is find out the forms. Right, so we need her webbing to follow this. Because if we don't have it follow this, you're going to get what we had when I did this the first time, which was it just flattened the living hell out of it, and it looked like shit. If we're making art, let's do our best not to make it look like shit. Okay. Now, let me just open up my reference. I forget which direction the webbing goes. Trello. Spider-Gwen. So it goes like that. Alright. See, so it's not gonna, I don't even know how much of this you can see, but it's not going to be perfect. Just taking that little bit of time, to me anyway, just helps. You know what, I might actually, yeah, let's do it. Let's add an extra line in here just to make it really textured. So now that I have those base lines there, I can kind of draw as many as I want in between, as long as I'm following that same perspective. This is like, honestly, it's super important, I found, when you're drawing anything about Spider-Man, or any spider kind of character that has these webbings, is like if you don't round these forms out as much as you can, you can really flatten this stuff out, make it look real gross. It's hard to do too. God, it's like screws with your mind a little bit. Oh, Mass Effect comes out this week, does it? Jesus. Yeah, see you later, Inkbot. Thanks for popping in, my man. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here for you guys. Cool. I don't know if I can see. Oh, it is working. Okay, okay. Look at the wrong screen. There you go. You guys can see a little bit better. Do 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 do. Okay, so now we go right into our gray wash. It's a little weird because there's two ways of doing it. You can ink first and then gray wash there, but I found that if you gray wash first, then apply your inks, once it dries, it holds better. So it's going to be a little interesting to figure this out. So, and we're doing it the old school way too, because I wanted to get back into using these guys here. Let me just get them both out. Little water brushes. And some of those boys. Okay. So I think we're just going to go simple. Just light it from the top. Although she's got like these... What does it look like with her eyes? Yeah, it's like this faded out haze kind of thing. Interesting. Do I ever miss my old rendering style? Sometimes. But when that happens, I usually try to find excuses to render. Meaning, like, we'll take JESOP King for example. There's a couple scenes where there's like some monsters that are coming up, and I'll be rendering those guys out. But all in all, no, just because of how much time it would take me to do something. I get a little impatient when you have to spend that much time on like a single piece, especially comic pages, man. Because each panel could be like a piece in and of itself a lot of the time. So I just found... Well, I'm just glad that I'm at where I'm at right now. Because like a lot of the roots, like stuff that I used to look at, like old Capcom art and stuff like that, that stuff wasn't rendered at all. For the it was rendered, but it wasn't like dramatic American style shading. That's how I like to call it. So... But I'm still glad I spent the time to draw in that style for a while. Taught me a lot about form and dramatic lighting and stuff, little tricks. Because like if you look at JESOP right now, since the coloring that I do obviously isn't like, I let the coloring do a lot of the dramatic dramatic work, right? But because of that, because I did all that line art and rendering and all that stuff before, when I'm using color to do shadow, I'm still using the same kind of rules, you know? So that helped. Oh, we'll be doing the 24-hour comic book event this year? I'm not sure. When is it again? I only did it once and I failed, so... it's tough. Let's get some more light in here. Oh, October. Oh, jeez. I don't know. It's too far away. It'd be fun to do it again for sure, but depends where JESOP King's at and stuff, to be honest. I think it's worthwhile for everybody to try it once. 100%. I learned a lot. Not even so much like the process of comics that it teaches you. I found that it taught me more along like what you can actually do in 24 hours, which is surprising because a lot of people, right? They'll say, how do you, not me, but in general, like, how do you find more time to make comics or draw and all that stuff? And if you do the 24-hour comic book challenge, for those that don't know, it's you have 24 hours to make 24 pages of a comic book. I believe it's 24, right? So it comes down to like a page an hour. Now you have to write it, all that stuff. I think it's frowned upon to show up with like a script. Not that you can't do it, but it's supposed to be like you do everything right there, and you don't have to do coloring and you do it however you want to do it. If you just want it all painted, you can paint the whole thing. You want it done in gray wash, do that. But what I dig about it the most, again, is that it shows you that you can do it, and you'd probably be amazed, even if it's like the worst pages you've ever made. In one day, in a couple hours, you're able to make X, and that's empowering and worth it just in and of itself. Okay, and those that have no idea what the hell I'm doing. So this gray here, this brand is General's Sketch and Wash. I don't know if that'll show up. Let me get this back so I can see. I have my auto zoom off, so you might not be able to read it. It's flipped too. Okay. Anyway, General Sketch and Wash number 588, and then you get one of these. They're just like it's a brush, like a brush pen up here, and this is all water, and you just smear it, and it makes a really cool look. It's a different way than getting like actual ink wash, like real ink, and then diluting it with water to get different tones. It's a similar thing, but just a little different. Has a little different look too. I've been meaning to, you know what, I might actually do it with this, to be honest, is I'm going to scan this in when I'm done, once it's gray washed, and do a couple tests on my own of coloring over top of this, just to see how it looks, because I would like to make a short story or something one day with this sort of look. I think it's definitely a unique look. Maybe like Castle Dracula or something like that. So her pants are mostly black, aren't they? I don't know how much we're going to ink. So just a gray wash on there for now. Hey, Ogar, how's it going? No, thanks, man. Appreciate that, brother. Lurking while thinking of what to do. How are you? How's it going, Red? I am doing great. Um, let's bring in some more shadow here. Actually, just black out all this in here. No reason to show the neck. Boom. Oh, that's yeah. Well, that's my problem. Because I don't know how to draw women that well. I default to muscles, right? That's what I enjoy drawing. So even though I know like a lot of these lines should just be smooth, it just feels weird to me. Like it doesn't. I don't know. I've said it the last fucking like month or two, more than that, but more recently I've been saying it a lot because I need to devote some time to studying and trying to draw women a lot better. At least for me. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in even more so you guys can see the juicy. If we get in here, can you see this? Might be too much. Let's see if we turn autofocus on, if it kicks in or if it dies. Kind of. Who knows? Alright, let's turn it off. Alright, let's try this out. Okay, so I'll just try to show you guys what I'm doing. So I'm putting on my hand here. You kind of see where it says, maybe you can't, it says push. Literally, you push there to get water to go into the reservoir, obviously. But sometimes it gets a little dry, sometimes it doesn't. So it's just super wet, and it gets different effects each time you're using it. So it's weird. You almost like just paint with it. Hey VF, how's it going, buddy? It just makes like this really cool texture to everything, you know? Like right here, there's a lot of graphite being moved around here, so it gets pretty heavy. Just gotta be careful. A lot of these areas. But like I say, it adds this texture to it that's really slick. Like I like it. I know it's not for everybody, but and it dries relatively quick too, so it's almost like you get one shot to smear it around. Then you gotta wait till it dries and you can add more. No, this is just regular Bristol. Trying to get water coming out of this thing. Alright, let's try getting there. It's supposed to be like this soft kind of gradient look around her eyes, so let's hope for the best. It's a little too much, but I think it still works. If you guys are interested in seeing like an actual professional use this method, it's where I got it from. Obviously, Freddie Williams. I swipe everything he does. Check out, I think it's Evan Brews. I believe that's his channel. Or just type Freddie Williams, and you'll see him. He'll do like a Thor, Captain America, a couple other characters. He did a few videos where he was working with what I'm doing right now. That's where I got the idea. I was like, man, that's sweet. Like for conventions and going and doing like prints. This is just like one extra step instead of using like a Copic, and it just adds something to it that's different than the Copics and stuff, right? Because it just adds, I don't know, it has a look to it. It's a cool look, a little rough. Anyway, so he did a lot of commissions, or a few commissions, I should say, that I've seen recorded anyway with this. I don't know if he still uses this. It looks like he uses inkwells now, which is to say that you would use, like you grab like regular ink that you would ink a comic book in, and you add it to a well, just something that holds water, and you put ink in there, and you add water, you dilute it, and that gives you a shade of like gray, right? The more water you add, the more closer it is to water, the lighter the gray. And you grab a paintbrush, and you do basically what I'm doing right now. You're just painting in. That's true gray wash, right? This here, I don't know what the hell this is called. It's like Sketch and Wash, I believe. That's the brand, but I don't know what this is considered. I call it gray wash because that's what I feel like I'm doing. I'm washing grays around. I feel like it's a pretty cool intro tool. To getting like a traditional and a painted medium kind of thing together. Might not be for everybody. That's okay. John, did you ever resize the model sheets for JESOP? Oh, shit. No, I didn't. I apologize. I have... Oh, wait. Here, hold on. I have this here. That's giving me the wrong screen. Give me a second here. No, I haven't met him. I've talked to Freddie multiple times through emails, though. I think we're on a good rapport, He's seen my videos and stuff like that, so he hasn't come at me with a cease and desist or... No, he's been a really cool guy. I'd like to meet him one day. Sorry, let's go to JESOP King. So I have... I can't show you guys because it's not... Shit. Okay. Well, Monochrome, if you don't mind, could you send me an email? If you don't know my email, or on Twitter or whatever, and I'll send you a turnaround sheet that I do have. But like the web page for what's it called, JESOP King it's just the comic book stuff right now, right? Eventually we'll get to character profiles and all that stuff if I can. I don't know if you can do that with the Tumblr theme. Hard to use? Question mark. What do you mean red? Did I say something there? Am I being confusing? Jonathan, how's it going, buddy? This is cool. I haven't seen you work in traditional form before, and nice to use a gray wash too. I got it at a good... Yeah, thanks, man. I did a test. There's a few tests I did last year. You guys can go back and watch if you want. One of them for sure is the Galactus one. I did this with, and when I saw Freddie using them again, just to reiterate, I just want you guys to know the reason why for a lot of this stuff. This was primarily just for getting ready for some local conventions, and I didn't want to spend so much money on Copic markers because I just do gray. I don't do color. It takes me too long to draw, and I don't want people standing in front of me for like an hour while they're waiting for me to color something. That's just me. Turns out I only had a few commissions anyway, and they were smaller ones, and I don't do 11 by 7. Mostly people, they don't pay for 11 by 17, right? If I had to guess, Style aside, it's just because I haven't done any big books, so nobody knows who the hell I am, right? Once people start to know who you are, like if you start getting a name at Marvel or whatever, all of a sudden people value your art. It's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to offer a little something so that maybe this would be a way to entice people. And the other thing too is it's fun to watch, right? Because like once you start doing this step here, that's when people's eyes go, "Oh wow, cool. What are you using?" You know? Because everything else up to then is just like pens and markers, and even this just looks like I'm shading with like a gray pencil, right? And then as soon as you start moving the gray wash around, people start to go like, "Oh shit," you know? It's like an extra secret that they get to see. So, and then the more I was using it, I was just I dig it, and I could get well, I can get way better with it for sure if I just spend more time. Just so because like right now I'm just moving this stuff around, and I want to understand this tool a little bit more, like know where the water can hit, so I can get like a streak or something. You see, like right now how I'm moving all this around, and it's like very thick at the edge. So by moving that water around, I can push that edge to the one side, so it's kind of uniform all the way down. Oops, used too much water there. So it's fun. Gets you out of the computer world for a little bit. Get your hands dirty. Get them all inky. Because we still have to ink over this, right? So I have to figure out what I'm going to do to dry this quick. Or I might have to put it to the side or something. We'll figure it out. Maybe we'll work on some JESOP while this dries or something. Sorry. Just wondering if it's hard to use such brushes. Never tried one. Not really. It's literally just a what you could do, guys. If you don't want to like buy this, just try to see if you can find one of these sketch wash brushes or pencils. You might even be able to just try with like a traditional pencil too. Just lightly sketch, and then just get like a dollar store paintbrush, dip it in water, and just start painting with it. That's all it is. You're just moving it around. I don't feel like, and that's what I'm saying. Like the more I use this, the more I could find out the intricacies of it, like what I can move around, and like I say, right here at the bottom, I'm moving everything to the right, and it's making it darker, right? So I know there's little tricks that I can figure out with this if I spend more time doing it and going slower. Like right now, I'm going pretty quick. Like just feeling where it's moving stuff around, how much water I have to apply. That's all. But right out of the gate, I think it's pretty simple to use, especially if you have like a decent understanding of lighting. And that's it. Cap on, done. All right, so here can you guys see it? You guys can see it. It's flipped right now, but actually here, maybe I don't know why it's flipped horizontal. Give me a second. Flip horizontal. Okay, there you go. All right, this is the way it should be. Right. And it almost looks like it's blue. We still got to ink wash the background too. And this is what will always happen too. The paper starts to warp because it's wet now, right? So without stretching the paper and using legit paper, like watercolor paper, pretty much all you can do. And usually if this goes into a frame or something like that, it'll straighten out. It won't even matter. Hey Jay, how's it going? Yeah, there is. Yes, we can do that. Maybe you can even get motion blur out of it. Yeah, you can. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Thanks. Okay, let's see what we're going to do here. What I would do at the... Let's just do what we do at the conventions, right? Well, what the hell? Let's actually get some background in here. Alright, so I might actually use ink wash for the bottom part. Just because there's so much to do. Like, that's a lot of coverage to have, whatever. Half of me just wants to cheese this out and like stylize some sort of splatter in the background, but we can't do that. I don't even know if I'm set up yet to have. Shit. Oh, what the hell? Let's have some fun. Stop trying to look at all the negative stuff. Alright, so this is some of the stuff you guys, in that video that I did. I'll show you guys this in a second. But I don't think I have, like, you know I do. Okay, we got toilet paper. Because we're going to have to mop up some of that water. And do I have any brushes here? I got some water. Just give me a second, you guys here. Now, where would I have put paintbrushes? In here? Okay. I remember I bought, once I was messing around with this, so there's like this really fine one. I know I'm not going to use that. I just need like a big fat. It's this one. I think we use these ones. But I'll be honest, a lot of the stuff I use, because I'm just trying to learn this stuff, so I try to get the cheapest materials possible. So a lot of the brushes I have, they're just from the dollar store. If you guys ever gone to like your local dollar store, you'll get like a big ol', what's it called? Like a pack of like 50 brushes, like this kind of stuff here. That's what we want. Just dirty, filthy tools. Because the way I look at it is, if you're ever learning to use a new tool, whether it's a Cintiq or anything like that, you know that the most expensive materials are out there, right? Just look at a lot of professionals. They gravitate towards quality product because they use it a lot, right? But you're not going to know if you're going to want to use it long term. So if that's the case, may as well use the cheapest stuff you can find, fart around a little bit with it, and if you think it's got some legs, if you think there's some, you know, that you're going to use it for a while, then maybe you can start considering using all that stuff. Yeah, we could use tape to flatten this out too, for sure. Tape it on there. I like moving this around though. I don't know. I'm still such a noob with this thing. Okay, can I zoom up more? So I want you guys to be able to see what the frig is going on. Is that too zoomed out? Yeah, we'll try that. Okay, so if you guys don't remember, again, a lot of this still swipe from Freddie Williams. And I tell you guys, find somebody you like an artist you like what they do, and again, try to find cheap alternatives to what they do. But a lot of people, this is almost like it's a shortcut in a lot of ways with like life and other things like that, okay? Which is, professionals usually spend a decent amount of time, probably more time than you, figuring out how a tool works, right? So they've gone through all the hardships, theoretically. Not always, but a good chunk of the time. So when you see something they do, just sort of mimic what they're doing, and it'll save you that initial like question mark sort of phase, right? So these I bought at the dollar store as well, and I don't use them because they leak. So I need to buy better stuff, obviously, than the dollar store. But so in here we got D, L, and M, which is just light, dark, medium for the gray wash. But I don't think that's actually appropriate. This is the first time we used it, and I still think it's way too dark. Looking around. Let's grab, I don't know. Don't use the back of your artwork like I'm about to do to test out ink. I'll just use this. Hey, Michael. Yeah, man. You got it. Alright, let's try the light one first, because I still think this one's a little too dark. Alright, you guys are about to watch like some shit show happen here. So okay, cool. I got lucky. Oh, this is dangerous. It's like handling explosives. Alright, let's grab this one's cool. It's got like a little angle to it. This might be fun to do like buildings with. So let's just try this. Yeah, it might be too light. Alright, let's check out the medium. Alright, so light on the left, medium on the right. This looks heavy. Why is it like purple? It's actually not holding it very well either. Oh well, let's see how this goes. Alright, so I'm going to put medium. I'm going to put light. all this crap out of the way. Alright, let's add some to the background. Let's see how light looks on this first. Maybe go this way with it. Yeah, light might be alright on this here. Let's get some toilet paper ready, because, well, you know, it's bound to happen. Feel like a real artist right now. And the other thing too is, since we are inking over top of this still, like this is just like, again, the gray wash, right? A lot of these little like things that might be considered errors, you can kind of fix up once you're putting ink over top, you know? We can just do like bricks. Feels like I'm back in arts and crafts. Speaking of errors, sent you an email with a few of my images. Well played. Alright, I'll take a look at that, buddy. Thanks. Let's try going to the danger zone. Once you do this, you don't go back. Let's try it here first. Oh, wow. Let's take that back right away. Look how heavy that is. Jesus. That is super dark. Alright, so we're not going to be messing around with that. Hey, Monsterism, how's it going, my man? Things are great. Thanks for asking. How are you? Alright, let's just insinuate some background. Look how watery this is, too, eh? Holy crap. Let's get one of these smaller brushes. Fine dude, just watching. Oh, cool. Thank you. I hope this is somewhat entertaining. I'll be honest. What's gonna make this just send this over the top is spilling ink all over this damn thing, right? Let's all be real for a second. Spill the living hell out of all of this. Then we got a show. Man, it's funny how this ink wash works. It's got a mind of its own. It's like trying to control colored water. It's just good luck. Alright, I'll probably throw some ink down here like a straight line. I'll kind of get some edges on these buildings back here though. What did we do last time? We had... Was it using... Did we use this to like make little splotches? What did we do? I don't think I have a sponge. Well, let's try this. Let's see how... Fuck. This is going to be shit. Alright. Let me get some of this ready. What I'm going to try to do is dip some of this toilet paper in this giant thing of water. So this isn't going to work out very well. And we're just going to do some splatters, I guess. Some splotches. See how this kind of comes out? Oh my god. Alright, well. Let's try it. No. I have no faith in that. Let's try. I just want to see. That's a little bit of texture. Maybe we can put it down here. This is awesome. Okay, yeah, I'll show you guys what the hell that even looked like. It's very subtle. I don't even know if it shows up here. Can you kind of see it? I know it's not autofocusing. Give me a second here. I'll help you guys out. Autofocus. Kind of. Anyway, who cares? Okay, let's put these weapons away. So the question, but anybody playing new Zelda? Yeah, I'm playing the new Zelda. There's a couple people here playing it. I know it's not for everybody, but for me, one of the best games I've ever played. I think it's great. How about you? Are you playing it? Alright, let's put this here. Just gonna clean this up a little bit. Just gonna air dry this thing over. It's funny. This doesn't even sound like Bristol anymore. It just sounds like wet water. It sounds like wet water, not dry water. Let's get all these paintbrushes out of here. Cool. I'm running out of room. Alright, let me just get this off the table. 1 second, guys, here. Please don't fall. Please don't fall. How wet is this still? It's a little damp in certain areas, so just give it a little bit of time. Not too long, don't worry about it, guys. We're going to move through this. Just give me time to get all set up here. Alright. So this little case here, too. I guess we could walk over, or do this real quick. Some of you guys might be interested in this. I think I have a video on this, I'm not sure. Again, this was all part and parcel to going to conventions. I wanted something that I always had like my battle pack or something ready to go. Everything I need is always in the same spot instead of getting like just like a generic pencil case is fine, but a lot of times if you're doing a lot of conventions, a lot of your stuff's going to be on the table, right? I wanted to have a little spot that I can always put it back so the area is still somewhat clean. I don't always have like just a pocket full of pencils if I'm not working, right? So I set this up here. It's nothing, it's not like something I'm proud of. It's just a quick setup. Took a picture of it. That way if I ever forget where shit's going, that's fine. So we've got our water brushes here. These here are, which we'll actually be using in a second. These are like the main inking tools that we'll be inking with. They are, what are these? Kuretake, is that what it is? Kuretake brushes, yes. If you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, I apologize. I can get you links. But anyway, we've got a brush pen here, some stuff to sign stuff when people buy prints. And we got our microns, or what I use are Stedlers. You can use whatever. I was just trying these out. I think Ryan Otley posted about these. Got this whiteout that we can use, a little Velcro strip on the back. Keep it nice and tight. It's pencils. You never know when you're going to need. Get some blue pencils, some red pencils, and then the sketch wash stuff right here. Put that there. Leave this over here because I know we're going to be needing some of these things. Okay, and then the last thing I did here is I made this little cheat sheet too. Now what this is, you can see it's all the pencils and the brushes that I use. The reason for this is, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a very good memory with what the line quality is going to look like with certain tools, especially the Stedler, like the microns or whatever you're using, you know, like 0.05, 0.1. My mind, I just know 0.05 smaller, but sometimes I can't tell, right? So instead of getting a scrap piece of paper and always drawing, I just did one of these so I can go, okay, that's the thickness I want, bang, grab that, and move on. You know, like I know it's not, you don't need this. I just find it like fun to have. Same with my pencils. They're all the same tool, so I can look at like how light of a blue do I want, or I want the darker blue, like that kind of crap. That's all. Just something to think about. You guys might dig it if you're making your own little like upgraded pencil case or whatever. Let's see what we got here. It's getting kind of dry. It's almost there. It's almost ready. All right. All right, so just give me a second here. We're gonna do a little plugging. The most favorite part of the show, right? Okay, so let's see. I think I can just switch it over here. What we got here? Bang. We'll turn that off. Okay, so if you guys want, you can head on over to my website, jonathanrector.com. There are links all over the screen you're seeing if you guys want to follow me wherever you like. And I've just been making note of this every now and then. If you go up here to the top of my website, there's a little like shopping cart. We got the Etsy store all set up. So if you guys are interested in any of the prints that we did on the stream, or hell, even when we were doing a lot of the commission talk and stuff last year, we got the Ninja Turtles up here. You guys can pick that up. Or if you guys just want to look at them, feel free. There's different options you can go in there. There's like Artist Edition, and there's just a regular one if you want like a custom sketch to go with it. We've still got a couple left of the Sketchbook Red. That was like the first sketchbook that we did. Man, that was like at the end of, might be like a year and a half now. We're going to have to make another one. But there's a whole video on YouTube that there's a link here as well you can check out. I think it's right here. So you can see the entire interiors of the book if you're interested in that. Okay. And if you guys don't want to buy this stuff, that's cool too. If you guys wouldn't mind helping me out, just sending like sharing it on your Facebook or wherever the hell you are, that would be great. And lastly, JESOP King. You can head over to jesopking.com. Got the webcomic. It's all set up. We're up to page 4. Releases every Monday to Friday. If you don't like going to the main site to check it out, if you're on Instagram, if you have the apps, or if you like going online, Webtoons, Tapastic, there's a Facebook fan page, and then there's this main page here. So there's 5 ways of checking it out if you're interested. You can follow it there, and if not, feel free to share it. I would appreciate that as well. Okay, let's get back to the good stuff. Yeah, they do have some really nice watercolors. I've seen some artists using it. I haven't messed around with that stuff at all. I just use the basic tools. A lot of the inking stuff here, let me grab them now because we're going to get ready to do this. A lot of this stuff was just used from Ryan Otley, actually. He posted what he uses, and they're usually just these two here. Now this one I usually use for outlines, but I've been finding that this one doesn't get as thin of a tip as like this one seems to do, and I don't know what the hell's up with that. So let's do it. Let's get to work. You can see it. I don't know. Can you see it kind of bending here, guys? Can you see that? So good. All right. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to take all this off. Just take off this back side here. Monochrome, if you're in the chat, I'm going to mail this out to you as well. If not today, tomorrow. So you should be getting the whole big print package and all that good stuff very shortly. Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, you let me know when you get them. Somebody has already gotten back to me, and they took a picture of it hanging on their wall. So that's awesome. If you want to hook me up and send me a picture as well, that would be. I don't know. It's like the best. Just seeing when people like to put your art on their wall. It's a good feeling. Okay, so enough jibber jabber. Let's get rid of all of this here. Let's put this over there. Do you guys see it warping? It's so good. All right. Now let's do some contours. Alright, we're going to start with the boobies because they're on the inside here. It's easier to see this stuff. Here, let me zoom in so you guys can see a little better. So I'm not worrying about the line weights necessarily. This is just the contour. And what the contour is just think of it like the outline. Not everybody has that in the style they draw in. That's fine. But actually, you know what? I would say always have contour lines. If I had to pick between contour lines and line weights, a little torn. I'd probably say just always go with contour, is good, like what I'm doing right now, where it's just like a thicker shape around the object because it helps with the silhouette. It just helps your eyes focus on it a little bit better, Whereas line weights, they're great, but sometimes if you have a lot of detail in your artwork, they can get lost. Either way, you got to be conscious of this stuff. But anyway, so I do this first, and then we're going to go ahead and, I guess, ink, be what I call it, which is just like adding the line weights from these. If you guys have been following my channel at all, whatever I do digital is pretty much exact same thing that we're doing here. So, oh, thank you, man. I would appreciate that. It's hot in here. Let's get the sweater off. So these brushes here too, if you guys are interested, what I like about them, why I wanted to try them, was if you guys have used a brush pen, I do have it, I'm not sure I'll use it on this piece, but the brush pens, I find they're very much like a brush, right? And I'm not skilled enough to use brushes effectively. I always feel like I'm way too sensitive with it or something. Using like these markers, I suppose. what's it called? The Stedler that I use, or a Micron. Those feel good. Now these brushes here, they feel more like that, but if you press a little harder, it gets like the thickness out of it that you don't normally get out of those like microns and stuff. So I would recommend checking these brushes out if you're interested, and they're relatively cheap too. Especially if you'd like to add a little bit of thickness to your line art, but you're no good like me with a brush pen. So all in here, it feels like I'm drawing over toilet paper. Feels like wet water. Hey Darren, how are you, buddy? Sounds like my computer's dying. Alright. Now, are we going to put a contour line on that? We'll see. I'm going to leave the contour line around, like off of this one. I'm not sure if we're going to put one on there. It might look really thick if we have all that on there. Monochrome. I just bought a set of 80 Touch 5 markers, and they're just for comics. Oh, cool. I've never heard of those brushes. Alright, so now we're going to do the line weights. Now this one, I might go back to this brush. Like I said, a lot of the times this one, it's supposed to be a thinner brush, but I find that I can't get thin to thick, or I can get thin to thick with this one, which is a little odd. But let's try it in a couple spots, see how it works. So thin to thick. Yeah, it's working a little bit better. And again, this is where we start breaking this stuff up, and this stage here is really cool because you're just kind of like subtracting, I suppose, from the silhouette. Like I'm going in here and I'm adding to this line. Like watch, so I'm going light to heavy right in there, and because of that, it connects it to the silhouette and it breaks it up, and it just makes it feel a little bit more like it was always there. Like I did all of this at the same time. If that makes sense. One second, got a cat. Coming in, Jojo. Hey, Momo. Hey, buddy. What's up? Oh, how you doing? You gonna be nice in here, or you gonna keep meowing? You let me know. You can lay down while we draw. I don't know why I'm sniffling, man. You want out again? Cats. There you go, buddy. Go ahead, go say hi to Zelda. Go say hi to Momo. Alright. Let's try this again. Sketchcrat. Great name. What brand of brush pen marker are you using again? Okay, so I use... Actually, you know what? Hold on. I made a whole Patreon post on this. I'm going to open it up to the public because it's a few months old now. And it will tell you everything you need to know. JESOP. Can you guys hear him meowing in the background? Jesus Christ. Okay, come on. Stay in. Relax. Chill out. Read a comic book or something. Okay, I don't know if I had a tag on it. Let me just see here. Just give me one quick second, guys. This will help you out. Instead of me just always showing you, I mean, that's the quickest way, but this will, you'll like this better, trust me. Is it process? I don't know if let's see if that brings it up. Hey, Papa. Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, not doing too bad. Hey. Really? Wow. You did that all yourself? Just bear with me here, guys. We got to go through months and months of updates. Got to go through like 86 posts. Okay, we're getting warmer. Warmer. I guess I'll do like a super quick plug because that's always great, right? If you guys want, I do this thing every Wednesday or every other Wednesday. I do this. I used to have a vlog style podcast called Scribble Chat. So creative, I know. Anyway, I do that for Patreon as well. So if you guys are even interested at all in hearing me ramble, even more over topics, you guys check that out too. It's on Patreon. I don't even think I advertise it on there. I'm not even sure. Okay, there we go. I found it. Traditional art process. And there's a downloadable in there too. Really? Really? Okay, so let me just switch this up here. 1 second, you guys. Edit your post. That's what I wanted. What's cool about this, what I think is cool anyway, is I have a screenshot showing you the whole process, basically even of what I'm doing right now. Just in this one, I use a Copic marker. Just imagine I'm using sketch brushes or whatever gray tone you want to use. Public, let's hit save, and then I also show the tools, and then there's like a quick little blurb about it as well. Okay, so let me just grab this here, and I'll post it in the chat for you guys. There you go, you guys check that out, and that should be able to help you out. I'm actually going to add it into the description of the chat here, so or the video. If you guys are watching this, I don't even know if you're made it this long. Tools used in video. It's not 100% true, but if you need the link, it's there for you guys, okay? So check it out. Hope you dig it. Hey, Dennis, how's it going, my man? All right, where do we end up? All right, we're up here. We had a tooth pull. God. Doesn't sound very good at all. I think we're going to add a little bit of line around her eyes too. Not too familiar with this character. You want out again? Come on. You want out? Come on. Come on, Papa. There you go. Hey, Jojo. Here. Here. You want to go up there? Here. Come on up. Come on up. There you go. I gotta clean this place. It's dirty as hell. Yeah, I'll do a sped up recording of this next week too for you guys. I don't know if you guys saw the last one. Changing it up a bit since these videos are recorded. I can kind of narrate over top of them, so I can pause the video and speed it up kind of like at will. So if there's like a specific area I wanted to talk to, I can just pause it and like mouse over it to show you guys. So I can talk a little bit more of the process. Or not, well, yeah, I guess the process. So you have to sit through. How long has this stream been going for? So you have to sit through like an hour and a half trying to find something you might need to hear about. Hey Darren, how's it going, man? I love your stuff. If you have free minute, check out my Facebook art. What I would recommend you do, bud, is I believe on my website I should have links on there. If not, just send me a message on Facebook and send me like a piece or two that you have, and then ask what kind of critiques you want. Not just is this good or bad. I don't like doing that because it doesn't even matter. It's all that's like style and preference. And I'm not the guy to ask to fix that because honestly, the only answer you'll ever have that matters to that is just keep drawing every day, keep asking questions, and keep experimenting and growing as an artist. And the more time you put into it, the better you'll get. But what I can help you with is if you had like a specific thing. And if that's the case, then yeah, send me a little message on Facebook or email me, preferably if you can. That way I can schedule it in and I'll get back to you. But it's not against you for asking that. I appreciate it. I just some people ask it from time to time, so I forget to even bring it up. But I don't really like doing the just check out my stuff and let me know if it's good or bad, because it really doesn't matter. If I say it's good or if it's bad, it doesn't change anything. You know, it doesn't help you grow. It doesn't really do anything. It's good for the ego if somebody says, "Hey, it's great," but you don't really learn from that. You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Okay, so I think she's pretty much done. This would be as far as I would go with the inking. I wouldn't like her. All this is supposed to be black, right? But I don't want to put black on there because if I put ink on there, then I got to put it everywhere else. Then it turns into a whole process. It takes longer than it should. But what I will do is maybe we can put a little bit of texture on this stuff. Maybe just kind of go around and put little texture pieces everywhere. Yeah, try it, Keeman. I mean, this here with this water brush and stuff, to me, it's a lot simpler. It's probably the most basic way to get into trying to do this ink wash stuff. This, like the bottom part was done with actual proper ink wash, and it feels so out of control because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with it. Whereas the other one just feels like you're shading in with a pencil anyway, and you just smear it. That's super easy to do. And the tools are relatively cheap too, guys. Like, I don't know. I found them to be pretty cheap. Oh my god, let's get a ruler out. Ugh. I get it. Thank you. Oh no, no, hey, yeah, no problem, man. I know I didn't give you any advice at all, but just keep drawing every day, man. Keep asking questions. Try to find like-minded people. That'll help you big time. So this isn't even a straight line at all. That's horrible. Oh, let's hope for the best here. It's not even a lot. Ugh. We'll try to fix it up. It's not bad. And I'll say too, just one last thing. There's that quote that I share with you guys almost every stream. It's just fun to remind yourself, right? It's impossible to get worse at something you do every day. So if you want to get better at drawing, draw every day. The more you can, the better. But if you can't draw for long periods of time, it's too bad. But draw as much as you can. Sometimes you can't draw, but if you know you can, but you're gonna watch TV or something instead, just have a reason to why you do stuff. And if 10 years from now you're still not where you want to be, just remember it's impossible to get worse at something you do every day. So if you don't do something every day, like you just watch TV every day, it gets easier to just keep doing that. Not that there's nothing wrong with, well, there's a lot wrong with TV, but I'm just specifically talking to people that get frustrated with where they currently are, and for whatever reason they can't come up with the reason as to why they're still stuck where they're at. You know? Oh man. I just put my Patreon back on. I didn't know my old car had died, but I know. Hey, no problem. I appreciate it. Yeah, there's a few people actually that are on Patreon and their cards expire and they don't reply. Cards expire. It's a real thing, right? But I appreciate it, Darren. Thank you, man. Right now, I don't. I mean, this is probably anti whatever, but the content on there is slowing down right now because I'm trying to get everything to catch up to where Jessup King is on the web. I want to have the pages come out, I think, like a week before they go live. So I've already shared 16 pages. We're only on to page 4 right now. So it's going to be about like a good, month and a half before new pages. So up until then, I'm going to just slowly roll out like breakdowns and roughs of pages so you guys can see that. I used to do a lot of just like sketchbooking stuff. I don't really do that anymore just because now the only things that I'm doing is just the web comic now, right? So we'll see. But if you guys want to join, by all means, go ahead. There's tons of content already on there. If you pledge for the $3 one, it's all like comic making kind of tutorial kind of stuff. All those are still on there. So whenever you activate, if you choose to, there's like 8 updates for that now. 8 months of it. Have we been doing it? Maybe 10, something like that. Is it supposed to be like render version of inking? Oh, the gray. I don't know. I like to think of it more like cell shading. So like if this was Jessup, it'd be the same thing, except this would all just be the shadow color. I don't really go in there and render too much. I do little spots like right there, just to break it up to make it look a little interesting. But I don't render it like I used to render because that stuff just takes way too much time, and I feel like I don't get the same amount of value out of it. Like this still does the same job. If it's something like a monster where you can render like a whole bunch of teeth and claws and stuff like that, I might render it, but it's weird. I found Will and I were actually talking about this. We both started noticing that we were getting more likes on Facebook and other places when we would draw kind of cartoony. I would consider this kind of cartoony because it's not rendered out and stuff, but we would get the same kind of replies from simple artwork as more than we did when we were doing rendered stuff. And it was just super interesting. We were like, the artist in us wants to just render and shade everything, but everybody else was saying like, hey, we like it just as much, if not better, when it's cartoony. So instead of fighting it, may as well just do it because it's kind of quicker too, right? Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'll get back to your questions. Okay, so just a little change of plans. So we're gonna finish. This one's almost done. I think it's pretty much done. I'm just taking another look at it. But there's also this. I figure, what the hell? It's almost kind of done. It's not gonna take too long. If you guys remember, we did this. I think a few months back. It's the Doctor Strange one. And remember when I was saying the idea was to do this stuff like once a month to sell on eBay. Let's try to make some money off this one, okay? So we'll get this one going. It's almost done. And then we'll see how much we can do here. What time is it? 2:30? I don't know if we're going to be able to do this one. We'll see. We'll see. Because we're going to have to get going in about a half hour. I have to have a shower and all that stuff just in case I got to go somewhere. Oh, Jessup. Okay, so let me answer your questions here. Hello, everybody that's new in here as well. Here's a question for you. When you create a new character, how many versions do you draw before you feel confident with using that character? I seem to get an idea out and then run it into problems later. So right away, the first thing I would ask is, I guess, the context of like, what's the character for? Is it for a comic book, or is it just random character design? Because there's two different things there, right? And they both require different answers. And those different answers are pretty much the reasons why I would assume you're kind of getting stuck in some of that thought process. So if you're just drawing a character, well, actually, I'll wait till you reply if you're still here anyway. Hey, Tony, how's it going? But yeah, so let me know that. Is it for a story, or is it just for like a character just for you? I know those might seem like they're the same thing, but they're kind of not. Like at work, if I'm doing character design, it depends on what my deadline is. If I need character designs done that day, I can't do as many designs. But if I've got a whole week to do character designs, I can just hammer out a whole bunch, and then a lot of them gets voted through people and stuff like that. I'll just say this, okay, until you get back to me. For me, actually, you know what? Here, I'm gonna put this aside because I'm gonna do this one while this dries a little bit because I'm all over the place. I know there's a lot of work that has to get done on this one, but anyway. Shit, I'm all over the place, aren't I? What was I saying? Okay, so for JESOP King, when I'm doing designs for that, usually I will do probably like 1 to 4 designs around there. And I try to give myself a deadline on stuff. If I know I've got my sketchbook open and I'm just sketching for like future stories, I don't really, put myself on a deadline. It's just I know I have a character to do, so I just start sketching, and then it starts to ramp up towards the release date. Okay, so here's an example. Currently in JESOP King, there's going to be 2 characters that are still going to show up in this story that I have not yet designed. I know what I want them to be, but I haven't drawn them yet, right? And the last thing that I like to do, sometimes you have to just design them as you go, right? Like let's say you're drawing a comic book and you need minions that month, like minions of a main bad guy, and you pretty much are tied to the fact that you have to design around that bad guy, and then your design sense kind of comes through, and sometimes it wins, sometimes it fails, right? Sometimes it's a mix between both. Now, in saying all that, sometimes, like in my case, where I know I have got these characters coming up, what I've been doing is I've been sketching them in my sketchbook whenever I feel like it, which is probably not the best way to do it. But since I know I have a timeline, like those characters will have to show up, in a few months or something like that. But because of that, I'm not being too strict on myself. Once it gets down to like, okay, next week we're drawing this stuff, that's when I start finalizing a design. That's when I start thinking a little different. I start thinking in terms of not just necessarily what's cool, what's functional, and what's the easiest to draw. Again, that's for comic book stuff, and that's just a decision for me. I know easy to draw isn't something that a lot of people like to gravitate to. They'd rather go for the cool. I do think there's a mix between there. You can make things that are easy to draw and cool. However, I find that when I have stuff that I have to draw over and over again, like characters, simplicity is the best way to do it. A good example are the bad guys currently that you guys will see eventually in the story. You guys have seen it if you're on Patreon, or even if you watch some of these videos of me drawing them. The Doblins, they're like the main bad guys. I drew like some very crude versions of them before. The week before they were going to show up, we did a stream where I drew them, and I drew them very simple, almost like a He-Man look. You know, they just had like a belt and all this crap because I knew there's going to be a lot of these guys, and the intent of this of JESOP King anyway is to be done pretty quick. I'm not trying to draw as if I was working at Marvel DC because I don't have the time for that. I've got a full-time job, right? And that's what I'm saying. A lot of the time is a huge matter in all of this. If you don't do anything at all, you just like sit at home and you get to draw all the time, you know, like God bless, that's amazing. And you know, if you can spend time making better looking designs for your comic and your characters, may as well. You got all that time, right? But you have to know the why. So if what you want to do is tell more stories and time is an issue, you have to simplify stuff. To me, that's one thing that I learned where I'm working right now at the video game place, because one thing is you get a lot of people to look at the art, and whenever you tell people, hey, what do you think of this, they'll automatically come up with a decision even if their initial decision was different, just because they want, it's sort of like voting by committee, it's called, you know, like what does the group think of this, and then we go with that, as opposed to the designer. What did the designer think, and just go with what the designer wanted. So in our cases, even if you are doing your own book and that is the case, well, you have to know how much time you can devote, right? So on average right now, JESOP King's taking me around 4 to 6 hours a page, which is great. I can do that. I can still hit 3 pages a week doing that. That's great. But when I have new designs coming up, like a city that they're going to be going to soon, and like some bigger bad guys and stuff, I can't just go to the nines and just like detail the living shit out of everything, just because I know personally I don't have that time. So that means, just to go back to answer your question a little bit, a lot of my design choice comes down to how often am I drawing this and all that sort of thing. You know, like if you're doing video games and you know it's going to go to a 3D artist, it doesn't even matter how, like in those cases, like in video games, things tend to look really awesome because you're going to make them into a 3D model, and then at that point it's the animator's job to make it look really sick, you know. The drawing is just a leaping point, but in comic books, a lot of the time it's whatever is a simpler design. Like a great example is, look at like back in the Kirby days and stuff, and they still sort of go this way, but when you look at like the original X-Men costume, where it's just like spandex with an X on it or something, you know, and that's because like those artists back then, at least from my understanding, I could be wrong, you guys can let me know, they weren't drawing just one book a month. They're doing multiple books. We'll just say gentleman's 2 count of books, you know, and if you're drawing 2 books a month, like that's crazy to draw like elaborate costumes over and over again. So you just gotta, so your design basically goes against what your commitment is, your time. I know that might not necessarily answer directly to your question, but it is something to take into account. If you're just talking general design principles, then you know that's like a whole style and aesthetics thing, and that can go into a whole bunch of different places. Hey Troy, how's it going? Art draws no more than 3 different versions. Yeah, your gut definitely plays a huge role in what you're doing. Yes, comic. I have a story and would like to make sure I draw the character in every angle. Yeah, so also just take into account too what's your skill level, and be honest with yourself. Everybody's always very critical of how they are. Like some people are like, I don't even want to draw just yet because I don't think my stuff's good, and you know all this nonsense talk. But yeah, you might be like an entry level artist, meaning that you're still learning and growing, and there's nothing to be ashamed of that. Just don't draw. I don't know. For me, if there's one thing I could just leave with just this one comment, is it's my belief that if you want to be a comic book or artist, your number one thing is story, being able to tell story, more than the substance, meaning the art style definitely plays a role, but it should only play the role to help the story, not just, like, it's not a series of pinups on panels. Like, if you have a 5-panel page, you're not just drawing 5 illustrations. You're drawing a story contained in 5 panels, if that makes sense, okay? So knowing that, just, you got to figure out what it is. Like, if you've got time and you want to elaborate on the designs, like let's say it's a futuristic world or something, and it's like steampunky, and you need to show a lot of tech. Well, if that's the case, then maybe the characters are wearing like rags and more simpler leathers and stuff like that. They're not just decked out in like freaking metal and like design. Like, here's a good example. Look at Star Wars, okay? Imagine drawing the Millennium Falcon over and over again, and I'm glad this design works, okay, just for this example here too. So let's just say Star Wars was a comic book and not a movie, right? And Han Solo, look at how he looks. right? He's just got like a jacket, a belt, and a gun. Really simple design, right? But the Millennium Falcon is detailed to all shit. Now look at Chewbacca, same sort of thing. He's super simple, right? And the reason why those designs work, especially in those movies, and arguably they don't always work in a lot of design cases, for me anyway, in newer movies, is because when you put like a Han Solo or a Chewbacca, which are simple, on these detailed as hell backgrounds, they still pop. Like, and yeah, they're animating because they're human beings, but at the same time, their design is contrasting their surroundings. Okay, and that's an important thing. So if you have super detailed characters, you might want to go with simpler backgrounds, right? Just and I'll just be honest with you, right? If this is your own comic book, I've just started my own webcomic, right? We're only 4 pages deep online. We're wrapping up at what, page 26, I think, this week. Early this week, we'll be up to 26. And the one thing for sure that I can say is just know that if you're going to do this for long haul, or maybe you're just doing a graphic novel, have an idea of what you want to do with it, and like a deadline. I know I need 3 pages a week. Mine's an ongoing webcomic, right? So whatever design choices I have to make, I have to sacrifice for the greater good of being able to still hit that 3-page or 3 pages a week done. You know, if you're doing a graphic novel and you want it released in a year, just do some basic math, right? We'll say the average graphic novel is 128 pages. Here, we'll just do the math right now, just for the context of like what the hell I'm jabbering about. So we're going to say 128 pages divided by 12 months, right? So divide that by 4 weeks. So you need to be able to do, we'll say 2.5 pages every week to be able to hit a 128 page graphic novel by the end of the year, okay? So look at your style. Start actually taking a timer. That's something I've started doing with JESOP King to make sure that I was hitting those deadlines. Unless you actually know how long it takes you to do a page, not what it feels like it takes you to do it. I mean, like an actual thing. Get a timer out, time yourself over like 10 pages or something to get an average, and figure out what it is. If you want to hit that 128 pages in a year for a graphic novel deadline, right? And you're only hammering out a page and a half, then you got 2 choices. One, you're not going to hit your deadline, and you have to be okay with that. Or 2, I mean, 1, you're not gonna hit your deadline, so you have to move the deadline back, and that's cool. Or 2, you're gonna have to simplify some things that you might not normally feel comfortable doing as an artist because that's not your style in order to hit that 1-year mark. Meaning less detail if you're a detailed artist, or phoning in some backgrounds, or coloring it simply and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Hiring out colorists to be able to hit up deadlines for you because you won't be able to hit them doing it yourself. There's lots of tricks around it, but I know this is kind of getting all over the place to your question, but it all still plays in itself, especially just because you said you want to do a comic book, and I just want to make sure you're aware of that. Besides general design aesthetic of what looks good, that's a whole nother concept or a whole nother thing. I'm not going to get into that right now. Especially if it's your own book, just do you. Do what makes you happy, because you're the one that's going to have to sit there and work on this thing for, God, who knows how long, you know? Yeah, thanks. The tablets were a throwaway design. Yeah, and I mean, like, that was, yeah, just on the fly. Like, certain things you're going to do, like what Darren's saying there is great. It's that sometimes when you're doing your comic, you're going to just need, like, to draw background characters, right? And they're not going to look the best. You just go with what instinctually looks good. I'm going to give them, like, a hammerhead head with 2 eyes and 2 noses on the front of them, just for whatever. You're drawing fantasy, or maybe it's real life. You know, you got to design how many people I'm going to put with a baseball cap on. How many guys are walking around with girls. You know, like, there's things that you will have to do that you can't design every single thing. Just the major things that matter. Just remember that, okay? Yeah, the less is more, especially in this case, especially when it comes to comic books. Because remember, like I say, and I don't think I'm alone on this, but I don't think I'm not in the majority of this being the popular belief, but comic books is 100% about story, not the art. Why I say I'm not in the majority of that is I do think a lot of people get into comics just because the art's awesome. I did. But the more I spend in there, the more it's just what keeps me coming. Like, we all have the artists that we like, and you stick around with those artists because you like the way they draw. For sure, they help everything. But the idea of it just being like an artist's game, I think is wrong. Because a lot of times in comic books there's words, and if those words are shit, like, it's just pretty looking shit. But anyway, And if you're doing your own comic, you've got to be in charge of all that stuff, and you might not be the best writer and the best colorist, right? So you have to pick your strengths and your weaknesses and do your best. It's just there's so many things that get you hung up on, you know, your story writing ability, your dialogue, your plots, your everything. There's so many things. It's pretty much impossible to be the best at all of it, or even very good at all of it. You know, it's rare. So as long as you just keep making comics, you're fine. Because your storytelling will get better, your design sense will get better, all that stuff. All that stuff will get better. Hey, yeah, no problem, man. I know I rambled big time on that. Dennis, I understand your point of view, but I haven't I haven't bought a single comic if I didn't like the art. No, okay, and what you're saying is, okay, so what I was trying to say there obviously was a generalization. I will say, if you are listening to this chat or this stream, you are most likely an artist. So you're into comics primarily for the art because you are an artist. When I was saying what I'm saying, it's the general public. Obviously, a cover is what draws people in. But when you ever talk to, have you guys ever talked to somebody like who would win in a fight, Superman or the Hulk, right? Now, in my opinion, when I've had that discussion, I never thought in my head, man, when I saw the Hulk drawn this way, that's why he would win. It's the story. It's when the Hulk gets super angry, he can smash through planets. I remember that comic where it wasn't just him punching through a planet, but it was that build-up, that anticipation of him, and the art helped the story of that. But that's the stuff that sticks with you, right? Again, as an artist, yes, there's certain artists that I'll always follow, and I'll buy anything they do just because they're drawing it, and I don't care if the story's shit. 100%. Absolutely. I do believe that's real. That's so real. I'm just saying, in my opinion, in the overall generality of it, a comic book is a storytelling medium, just like all art is storytelling in some way, and that's the single most important thing on the like baseline level. If you can draw really awesome, you can get people in to check your stuff out. If you draw really shit, but you've got a really excellent writer, that'll do great as well. So they go both different ways, and there's going to be different styles for everybody, which is great because just having different styles and approaches to what helps tell a comic book the best helps. Because if it was all just about the art, then everything would just start to look homogenized, man. Just be grateful that there's choice out there, you know? Stan Lee has said the fine artist can take their time, but the commercial artist has a deadline. Words of wisdom right there, man. 100%. I agree. And that also goes into that whole discussion of like when is a drawing done? And I really hate that question. I understand it. But sometimes, like, that's why I say, even if you're studying or doing whatever the hell you do, give yourself a deadline on stuff. Even if you're just working for yourself, have like a goal to hit, like a deadline. Because if you want to do comic books, like the whole medium is deadlines. Even if you're doing your own stuff, unless you're a superstar artist, you can't say I'm going to take 2 years off to draw the best thing ever. Like, how can you afford that? Unless you've saved up money and it's your choice, right? But then even still, you've said I'm going to take like 2 years off to do it, right? All that kind of stuff. But if you're going to work for a company or whatever, you're just you're a cog in a machine, which is fine. There's nothing wrong about that. Just know that that's what it is, and you have to hit deadlines. That's the name of the game. Deadlines. Deadlines. And there's nothing wrong with that. People want to make money. How do you make money? Well, you promise them something X amount of times a year, right? That's it. That's what you do, man. Art gets people in, story keeps them. I would agree. Again, I can't have this discussion 100% with artists because we're all different. We're all going to come at it mostly, I think, from I'm coming for the art and I'm staying for the art. I'll tell you right now, every comic book I've ever gotten, except for a couple, I got just because the story was amazing. Everything else has been like an artist that I love. But I'm an artist. If I went to like Joe Schmo that, you know, they like Spider-Man, so they pick up Spider-Man. They don't necessarily care all the time who the artist is. A fill-in artist comes in, and they're not even really that butthurt about it, but they've got 10 other books to read. That's, in my opinion, at least that's what I think, is the general public that reads comic books. And they just want that, you know, they want the cool comic book. They want to be excited. They want to be entertained, right? The whole thing, it's a storytelling, entertainment medium. Right? So, just my opinion on it. I know it's not going to be the same as what everybody else thinks, but I will say that once I stopped thinking about being like, oh, I'm the artist on this book, so I'm like the king. You know, everybody's coming to me. Like I'm the one that's making this whole thing possible. Once I so gladly got rid of that poisonous mindset and I started going for the right thing in my opinion, just my opinion, which is again, I'm a cog in a machine, and we're every piece of this machine, the writer, the colorist, we're all trying to make the best product we can. Um, Massive relief, massive relief, and it became a lot more friendly too. You just talk to the colors, be like, hey, we haven't done a night scene in a while. You want to do one? Sure, yeah, okay. Well, how much shadow should I add, or do you want me to just let you go crazy with the shadow and the lighting? Yeah, that'd be great, you know, because we haven't seen those characters yet, and if they're still in shadow, we have some dramatic light. That'd be sweet. That conversation would never happen if it was just me going like, all right, you want me to draw Batman? I'm going to draw him the sickest Batman ever. And then kind of think of like, well, the colorist will just help me out. The colorist will see what I did, and they will make the correct adjustments. A lot of us, you're never even going to see that because you're probably doing your own thing. But if you're working on a team, just remember it's a team, man. Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you think you're like the He-Man of this thing. And the last thing is like, I remember there was all this talk about like artists being like the rock stars, right? And maybe in the 90s that was true. And unless you're doing your own book, if you're working with other people, like I don't know, it's easier and it's better to just help everybody grow instead of just using everybody else to help you grow or to highlight like what makes you the best. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm all over the place here. World War Hulk. Yes. I have the trade paperback. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I wish. I don't know. I got it for two reasons. I love John Romita Jr.'s artwork, and I love the Hulk. I don't really enjoy like the general chapters of the Hulk, but I love like storyline Hulk. He's just a really cool character to me. So I liked it. But John Romita Jr.'s artwork, I don't know. It's just gotten odd. Like I loved him way back when he was doing Spider-Man and like even the X-Men, like Uncanny X-Men back in the 90s. He had a little something also. Now it's I think like he calls it his Deadline style or whatever the hell. And it's different. I don't like it as much myself. But yeah, it was a good comic. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. And what was the one where he went off planet? Was it Planet Hulk? Was that the other one? That one was pretty cool. It's going to be a relief to get this finished. I've had this sitting on my drafting table for like 4 or 5 months. I see it every single time I come into my room here. And I'm like, I'll get to you. I'll get to you. I'll get to you. I'll get to you. I want it gone. I like it. I think this turned out really well. You know, it's fun to look at. I enjoy it. It's cool. I had fun making it. It's just as I was making it, other shit came up, and I just started moving towards that because it was like client work came in, and what happens sometimes, like right now, I haven't worked on Jessup King in like 5 or 6 days, which I hate. I absolutely hate. But that's because I took on 2 client gigs. One of them I consider a client gig, which was the Gwen Stacy we just finished up there. Just because Monochrome hooked us up with the webcam, right? And I want to, say thank you in any way I can. So I said I would do that for him. But it's not like it's my thing, right? So I put it under the umbrella of client work, and it like this here takes a lot of work, more work in my opinion than digital. In digital, I can kind of work in steps. Where this one, I don't know if it's just a traditional thing or it's probably just me. It's like I feel like with traditional, it's like you kind of have to start and go right to finish. I don't like having open work. I guess digital, you can kind of hide it behind like file save and then close the program and it's gone. But this is always sitting out, right? And I'm like, God, it's always there. I just want to get it done. So I haven't worked on Jessup King because I want to get that done, and I wanted to get this cover that I said I would do for somebody because I'm not taking client work really unless it pays over the top.
or it's got to take me away from something that's very important to me, which is my own stuff, right? It's just a mind shift change that I've done. I'm not saying what you guys should do or anything like that. Um, so it's got to be something super important, or can help me with some financial goals, kind of thing, for me to like get away from that, right? So the cover that I was doing in the Monochrome's commission there, I was supposed to drag out for I think another 2 weeks till they were done, and I'm like, I just kept seeing them. I'm like, that's it. I'm done, man. I am done. I am just, I'm doing this all now. That way I've got nothing else to worry about, and life's a lot simpler when you don't have multiple projects going on. Screw that. Plan halt. Yeah, there's. There. I hope I'm not repeating my question. Hey, no problem, buddy. What paper I'm using? I don't even know. This is. I think it's. I'll be honest with you guys. Okay, this paper here is just like, it's like generic Bristol 11 by 17 comic Bristol paper that I got at a arts and crafts store, Michaels. They don't have a lot, so I just grabbed it. So I know there's probably better paper with better tooth and stuff like that. But since I do this so rarely, I just use, like, it still comes out great. I've just gotten used to it. But honestly, just grab, like, if you don't do this as much as, like, if you do this like I do it, where it's every now and then, I would still recommend getting the cheapest stuff and then slowly trying to find out what's good. Don't go buying expensive stuff unless you got disposable income. Just my opinion. I wish I could tell you a little bit more about the paper, but it's nothing to write home about. Okay, so I think this one's pretty much done too. There's not much inking on this one. Here, I'll zoom out. I think I can zoom out here. You guys let me know what you think. I think it's pretty much done. Like, there's a lot of. It seems like it's a lot of light kind of going on here. Like, I'm cheesing out on this inking. I know, like, these are all broken lines, so I want this to look like energy a little bit. You know what I might do here? We're going to try this. What the hell? It's been a while, so I'm going to do like a second pass of ink wash on this and see what happens. Just to see if I can darken up some of these areas. Get all this out of here. So if we can do like a second pass, might just, be what it needs. Now, what do we put a second pass on? Oh, we can definitely, I forgot this spot here. Well, looks like next week I'm going back to my background. Oh, good job, buddy. Congratulations on that. Are you saying Are you saying web comics is the best for new comic book stories to get started? I wouldn't. Okay, so full disclaimer, right? I've never done like professional work for any of the big companies. I've done some independent comics, and just starting. I would say what now, guys? Like 6 months now, maybe 6 months now. I just got off my ass and said enough's enough, and just said fuck it. I'm doing a comic book and I'm putting it online because that's just what I wanted to do. I will say, I think, in my opinion anyway, that the web is the best if you want to get noticed anywhere because everybody has access to it. Going to a comic book convention and stuff, that's great. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of that stuff. However, that costs money, right? And there's a lot of comic books out there. So unless you're like you're already like name brand, if you know what I'm saying with that, if that's you, then yeah, by all means, do that. For me, my intent is web because my goal for my comic, and I've shared it with you guys a whole bunch of times, you guys are going to get irritated by the time I'm done talking about it. Basically, the only thing I want to get done with my comic book is to build a bigger audience and get better at drawing comics because I don't draw enough. I don't. Like I draw a lot, I just don't do a lot of comic books. That's totally changed over the last 6 months. Like I just said, I've shifted my whole thought process and just focused primarily on my own comic book. Right, I'm done working for other people's comics unless it's something game changing. There's no reason to help other people get their dreams done at this point for me because I have a job, a great job. I have a day job, right? So I have income. I'm not saying I'm rich, but I have income. I don't need to take on freelance work unless it pays a lot, and may as well do my own thing. It's time to just be selfish for a little bit, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So, with that all being said, I want it to be as low risk as possible and be as cheap as possible because I don't go to work to spend money on my own comic. That doesn't make sense to me. At least right now because it's so early in the game. There's still so many barriers that I still have to learn. I still have to get my bumps. I have to get screwed over at some point. I have to make a bad decision here and there, right? So to minimize that, web is the best because it's free for the most part. I mean, if you're buying a .com or some website stuff, compared to buying print books, it's just straight. It's free. You can do what I'm doing. Go on Tumblr. That's free. You can just post pages on there. It's free. If you want to spend money, buy a .com. Get yourcomic.com that forwards you to Tumblr. Bang. That's all you do. You spend $15, $20 a year. That's all you got to spend. Done. Right? That's all you need to do. As opposed to making the book, then printing the book, then shipping the book to yourself, then shipping it to people, plus going to conventions and trying to push your book on people face to face, which a lot of us, myself included, I'm not good. I'm not a great salesman when it comes face to face with people. I'm just not. I know that. I'll get better with it for sure, but I have nothing to show for people right now, right? And the best part about the web is we use the term ship it because that's what a lot of people use. If you want to be a hip, internet savvy person that sells online content, you can ship your comic when it's kind of done, right? So you can post pages right now and just keep making pages, and it's a thing. It's living, and you can pivot, you can change as you go on, as opposed to once it's in print, it's pretty much final, right? So I would say, in my opinion, print or web is 100% the best thing to do, from my perspective anyway, when you're 100% indie and you don't feel like spending money on your comic just yet, right? You could test it out. You could do a web comic for a year, and then what I'm doing is this whole year is, like I said, trying to build a bigger audience and just getting better at storytelling through comic books, right? And I'm doing a straight year, so I think, what is it? The first week of March is when we launched it. So in 2018, first week of March, it'll be a year anniversary. That's when I'm going to take a very critical look at the comic, see how much it's grown, if it's got legs, if I'm still enjoying it, if I'm still having fun. What's the next step? I'll start to think, is there a way to make money on it? Is there a way to maybe go to a publisher with it? Those things. But it's still too early, and there's way too much content online to try to just come out guns blazing. I'm not an entrepreneur, so I don't have that entrepreneurial spirit. So that's just me, right? And you guys let me know what you think. I know there's a couple cats in here that are doing web comics. You guys let me know what you do. What's different with what I'm doing and what you guys do, right? Great example. Go to Webtoons or Tapastic. Great resources. Go there. Look how many comic books are on there. I'm not saying they're all the best, and how much are crap, or to you might be crap. There's so much just on that one platform. It's insane, And I don't want to. And the same is going to be in print. The print world is huge. There's lots of stuff in print. I am not about to throw money out there to make books and then try to do some world tour to try to find something that I just made. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. There's Kickstarter for sure. Kickstarter is great because it's kind of like a mix between the two, right? And that's one of the things I'm trying to do. If I could build a bigger audience, then ideally, if I could make one book a year, like a graphic novel a year or something, I would be in heaven. That would be awesome. Imagine that. But again, that's a side too. Sorry, I'm all over the place, guys. I'll get back to this in a second. I'm very interested in seeing what JESOP King is going to be like just as a web comic period without the intent of print. And I don't want to say it's not going to get print. The format of it is print, which is whatever. But I want to see once I go to I'm going to sell it as a PDF or something like that for $1 or $2 or something or whatever the hell, I don't know yet. See what those sales are like. from what I heard, it can get pretty lucrative. And if you can do all that stuff without going to print or making like a very unique, special, like maybe 100 only copy print, that kind of stuff for like your diehard fans. There's this one thing I heard, and it's always stuck with me. It was, I believe it was a rap artist that said it. And he was an indie guy. And what he was saying was, he's like, all I need, what was it, $20? Yeah. No, that's not right. Okay, sorry, my math sucks. Give me one quick sec. I just want to screw this up on you. 20 divided by, was it 100? No, okay, that's what it was. Sorry. Jesus Christ, that's basic math. Okay, so what he was saying was, if I could get 1,000 loyal fans to every year spend $20 on me, okay? If I can get 1,000 loyal fans to spend $20 a year on me, that lets my income be 20 grand. Now, don't get me wrong, that's not a lot of money. But if all you're doing is making a comic book and you have rent and you live modestly and you just make your comic book because that makes you happy, whatever makes you happy, that has to be the underlying thing. 20 grand is it's great. It's a good start for sure, right? You can live off 20 grand. Some of you might say that's impossible. It's possible, right? Now, that's just like 1,000 people is a lot, right? So the question is, how do you get 1,000 people to dig your stuff? If you can get that, then think about it. Maybe you need to get $30 from everybody a year. You do one Kickstarter a year. If you can get 1,000 people or whatever, I know that's absolutely crazy, but just hear me out. If you can get 1,000 people to spend $30 on you, that's 30 grand. Right? Do you see where I'm going with this? That's just on 1,000 people. If you can basically get that, like for me, that's one of the goals I have. Is if I can get that, then now we're talking about something that you might be able to do for like a living, right? And that's it. That's all. Just keep it simple, small stuff. Like working for Marvel, DC. That's all great stuff, and I'm never gonna shit on that stuff at all. If that can get you a living doing what you want to do, just do that stuff, man. I know this is going all over the place, but anyway, 1 second here. Cool, helps a lot. Look forward to posting. Oh, awesome, buddy. Yeah. Hey, Kendry, how's it going? It's going great over here. I'm about to wrap the stream up. There's a couple other things we can just do here with some ink wash, and then that's going to be it. And then I got to get going. I might stream later tonight. I'm not 100%. Tomorrow, tomorrow I'll be streaming pretty much all day. It'll be a JESOP King Sunday, that's for sure. You could just do print on demand. I don't like print on demand. I did an art book print on demand, and it's fine, but I just didn't like the quality, to be absolutely honest. I went with Kablam, and it's like a graphic novel. So I don't know if you guys ever saw it. Here, I'll grab it. I'll show you. Where is it? Yeah. It's super fun. Right here. The Art of Jonathan Rector, Volume 1. Whoa. Check this out. Look at this. Thick, right? So I should lie. It's not that I didn't like the quality, because this actually is pretty good. Yeah, still got that smell. This is all black and white for sure. So the only thing I didn't like about this, it was the shipping, man. The shipping was brutal. And it's sort of like the same thing that I had. I think I have it on my channel. You guys can go back and see a whole video of this stuff. I don't think you can get this anymore, but yeah, I got some standard comic pages and stuff. Look at this. How we used to draw penciled pages. Jeez. But anyway, what's it called? I don't know. This is like, it gets into a whole thing, guys. Experiment a lot with stuff. So like clearly I've experimented with a very limited print run of print on demand. The thing that I was saying with the shipping, I believe the shipping for this was like, if you lived outside of the US, I live in Canada, the shipping for this for one copy to me was like $20. And I was trying to sell this for like $20. To ask people to spend $40 when this was, oh my god, how long ago did I make this? Let's see if I got it. If I was smart, I didn't put a date on it. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Yeah, I didn't put a date on there. I want to say this was around 2008, maybe 9, maybe around there. Okay, and I didn't have a following that I could like. I'd maybe sell like honestly like under 10 is what I sold of these. Local, I could kind of move some that way as well, but I didn't. It's because that's the one thing. if there's one thing I just want to hammer to you guys, and I'm hoping by recording all the JESOP King stuff that I hope it pays off and it's true. If it's not, then it's a learning experience no matter what. Is that the intent of it is to just build a bigger audience. If I can get a bigger audience, then there's more potential people that might be able to give you money so you can make a living off of this stuff, right? It's cool to draw. Who doesn't like drawing? If you can get paid to draw, even better. If you can get a lot of people to pay you to draw, then you're talking a career. And that would be great. That's something that I would like to, that's what I would like to do very much. So keeping it simple, man. Just doing all that stuff. Man, it's been a while. I want to look through this. I'm going to look through this today. This is actually pretty cool. Oh, here you go. Some concepts we're talking about. There's 5 concepts I know we were talking about before. How many do you do? And I don't remember how much the color version of this one was. I don't remember. This was fun. This was pretty cool. I have to look through that today. Let's put this somewhere. Noel, hey, how's it going? Are you the Noel that I think you are? Or are you a different Noel? Are you a shadow Noel? Do you think it's better to practice inking a copy of your artwork so you don't destroy the original artwork? Or is it all about trial and error? I would say trial and error to see what you like. Some people like inking on stuff, some people they don't. So just find out what you like. I don't think there's the way to do it. There is ways to do it. If you've got the money and you can buy like a really cool printer, yeah, you can just ink over that too. If you want to sell your originals and stuff like that, you can have pencils and then the inked version. You know, you could double your income that way as well. Definitely something you could do. But I would experiment, see what you like. Some people, they actually prefer to ink over legit stuff, right? Some people, they're like, nah, no thank you. I don't want to do that. And the only way you'll know is by trying, right? And I'm the last guy really to be, I consider myself to be a digital artist nowadays. I don't really do this. This is like the extent of what I do traditional now, you know? Just because, I don't know. It's cool. It's fun to do. But it just seems like it's so much setup and work. It just seems like it's so much work. I can do digital work quicker, get more of it done. But I'm not lying to you guys when I say this has like a whole different feeling to it, you know. This has that tactile, I'm getting dirty, my hands are a mess, there's a mess to clean up, there's all that fun stuff, like, you know, kind of getting your hands dirty with paint feel, which is great. I used to get paranoid doing that, probably still, yeah. Wait, he's got like white here, doesn't he? What the hell am I doing? What the hell's Doctor Strange look like? He's got white sides, doesn't he? Why am I calling those? Doctor Strange. So make sure. I'm more than sure he's got white on this side. Sure does. Oh, he sure does. Alright, so I kind of screwed that up. So what we will do is I'm just going to ink wash a lot of this here. Just to make this stand out. I hope. Yeah, that's alright. Yes, Darren. Yep, it's 11 by 17, bud. I'll share this before I go with you guys again, just because I know a lot of you guys came in a little bit late. If you want, I'm going to have 2 versions. We're going to put this version up, and then I'm also going to do like a narrated sped up version, I hope. So let me get this out of here just to show you guys again. Hey, yeah, no problem, Noel. Alright, so let's get this out of here. So this is what we did today when we started. Let me get all of this here. Okay, and I just want to go over here. Alright, so Monochrome Moose, a fellow Scribbles fan, I guess. I don't know what the term is for that. Anyway, he hooked us up with this awesome 1080p webcam. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it so much. So I was going to hook him up with a whole package. I got a whole bunch of art prints for him, sketchbook, and I want to do a piece of art for him. I don't like getting stuff for free. It feels weird. So, you wanted Spider-Gwen, so we're going to do it. Not familiar with the character too much, doesn't matter. I did the tight line art in Photoshop, and I went to print this out. Normally what I would do is print this out like this, and then I would ink, like you guys just saw, in with real tools and the gray wash and all that stuff. I don't have any ink in my printer, so I had to do it old school. So what old school is, and why I showed this, and why you guys might be into it, because a lot of you guys, you probably can't afford like an 11 by 17 printer and stuff. So if you can at least afford a regular printer, you know what, I recommend getting, I believe it's just a toner printer. It's basically like a photocopier. It uses drums, like a drum of ink, and it's meant for just people that print documents, black and white documents. I recommend the hell out of that. Because if you're like me, you don't need to print in blue, okay? Unless you want ink and stuff like that, but let's just assume, just hear me out, get that. So what I did is, since it's 11 by 17 anyway, I just got two 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper, split the document in Photoshop in half. I have a video on that, you guys go check it out. Split it in half, and then printed them out, cut it, and taped it. Now you can see, I just want to show you guys, like, it's not perfect at all. Do you see where her like fingers are? How it like skips some lines, especially where her iPhone is or her cell phone. You see how the right line or the line closest to you guys, how it skips over? That's just the way printers are. So you know you got to do what you got to do. So I had this. Then we grabbed this guy here. The Huion light pad. Does it not plug? Yeah, I'll plug it in to show you guys. Like that, and this sucker goes super bright. Holy fuck! And it keeps going. Look at those lines coming through. Anyway, so we just lower it down. I forget how much we lowered it. Just shut it off. All right. So then we light boxed it. Normally I would sketch it onto the Bristol, but since the tight line art was already done, I said screw this and just inked it traditionally. And then we ink washed it, and it's good to go. Right. So that's what we did with that. Yeah. So I'll have a recorded version of that, so you guys can check it out. All that cool stuff. I forget what else I was going to say. I'm all over the place right now. But anyway, I'm going to close it up. We're going to close shop. I want to say thank you guys again. Tomorrow, most likely, if not, you know, whatever. But most likely, we'll be streaming all day. Probably start early, and then we'll end up around this time like we usually do. We're going to be working on JESOP King. We got some catching up to do with that. But things are going smooth. Nothing too crazy going on right now. And if you are interested in the Doctor Strange thing, I'll post it probably next week. We'll make a little eBay thing for those interested. I like trying eBay. Maybe we'll try Etsy on there as well. I don't know. Maybe we might do Etsy just to see how that turns out. Because I've been selling prints on there, but not really originals. Okay, so we'll see where that goes. Let me ask, where did you buy the light box? I bought it here. Here's a link right here. Okay, and if you guys are listening, just head over to Amazon and type Huion light box. Okay, but that's the one that I use. Okay, so you guys check that out. We'll do some JESOP King stuff tomorrow. All that cool stuff. Get back into the digital art, all the fun stuff. Anyway, okay, guys, enjoy your weekend. Appreciate you guys' time very much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you guys had some fun. And until next time, you guys keep reading comics, keep making comics, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.